lot of people have had many criticisms of the Pokemon anime over the years. Said criticisms and their volume depend on which season or era of the show we're talking about. Kanto gave Ash too many pity badges, Johto had too many boring filler episodes to stretch out the season, Unova regressed Ash's character too far in a halfway attempt at a soft reboot, Alola had an art style change that not everyone was happy about, and Journeys tried to do too much at once. Said criticisms I may or may not agree with, depending on said complaint, but I'd like to deliver one crucial critique to this long-running formulaic show that'll sink its reputation entirely and make people look at it in a whole new way.
When most people boycott and travel lots, they lose weight, but I tend to shrink.
Oh yes, well that's understandable.
This episode was stupid. A double dilemma was the 28th episode of Pokemon Advance Challenge and the 68th episode of the Advanced Generation overall. If my sources are correct, that is. The main plot is centered around Ash and Co. while en route to rematch Norman at Petalburg Gym, stopping at a town just before it, known as North Petalburg. Now, complaining about towns and locations not in the games feels futile. The anime does it all the time. Though I always wonder what the map of each region would look like if you factored in all the towns, forests, and routes in general into them.
When this town finds out that Norman's children are back, they're gonna go berserk!
Well, berserk is one way of putting it. We'll get to those townspeople in a bit. So as you could probably deduce, May and Max are considered kind of big deals in this area. But just because Norman is such a celebrity here that it naturally rubs off on his kids. Granted, May does show off her accomplishments.
I guess I did kind of win these 2 ribbons.
But they were already starstruck before that. One thing you'll notice right away is that these two are easily pleased by anything they do. Like, they could join Team Aqua and Magma, cause all of Hoenn's natural disasters, and lead to that funny cutscene with Groudon and Kyogre and Emerald, and they'd still consider them heroes. Now granted, it is common courtesy to praise a newbie for the smallest first accomplishments they make in their overall goal, but these guys take it to a whole nother level.
I'm sure your father will be very proud.
And to think that you've been doing this for such a short time, it's amazing!
Like, this is the stuff you'd expect from May and Max's own parents, not randos in the neighboring town. And already, the irksome stuff about this episode are starting to crop up.
I've already earned 4 badges on my way to the Hoenn League.
What's your point?
Thanks, but no thanks.
Now, it's not as bad here at first and kind of understandable. May is someone the town recognizes and again is the daughter of their gym leader, while Ash from their perspective is just some random kid they just met. But we'll come back to this. We also find out that Norman is apparently such a big deal here that he has his own merch. So like, is this bootleg merch, or did Norman license all of it and he makes some kind of profit off of it? I'm gonna assume the former, going off of what Norman's house looks like. They don't exactly come off as extremely wealthy given how the average rich person lives in this show. I say this because it seems to sell really well and would definitely make a lot of money.
They've stooped to selling Norman trinkets?
We're in the Valley of the Norman.
That should actually be a movie in the Pokemon world. Norman gets a movie deal and stars in a deep epic about himself and the crazy town next door. So Team Rocket decides to make a quick buck out of this by disguising themselves as Norman and his wife.
It's perfect! I'm a dead ringer.
It's good to be a Norman.
Now, if you know anything about the show, you'd know that Team Rocket's disguises are hilariously obvious even to the show's target demographic. So if I'm being honest, these are one of their most believable disguises. They seriously got them down perfectly. Heck, Jessie even found a way to style her ridiculous hairdo to fit this tiny wig. I'm sure this will be the easiest facade this side of...
Hi, my name is May. Where's my little brother Max? Come on down.
Okay, seriously? Who's gonna fall for that? Why do they even need to disguise themselves as May and Max? Don't the townspeople already know they're off traveling? Why did they think their height, color, and body shape would make this look in any way believable? Wobbuffet can't even talk! No way anyone with a room temperature IQ is gonna believe...
Looks like May and Max to me. Hey, long time no see, you two.
Lil Chico, give me some wine.
Chica!
I know we're deep in a forest with no store in sight, but I need a drink. Trust me, this scene is even dumber than what I showed, because while they're observing not May and not Max here, this guy has to say this.
Well, I've lived next door to Norman's family for most of my adult life.
Yes, this guy has lived next door to them and has definitely seen May and Max on a regular basis, somehow thinks these two obvious Pokemon are May and Max. Now, Ash and Co, along with some other characters not recognizing Team Rocket's disguises, has always been a running gag on this show to varying comedic degrees, but this is just taking it to a new level. Yes, these people wouldn't know who Team Rocket is, but they surely know what a Pokemon looks like, and even if they aren't in said region, Wobbuffet is in the Hoendex at least, I'd at least be able to tell if a tiny Anthro cat is disguising himself as a 10-year-old girl. As we go on, we'll learn that stupidity is a common fashion sense here in North Petalburg.
And just look how much you've grown, young man.
So, I actually looked up Wobbuffet's height along with the average height of a 7-year-old boy. I'm assuming that's around how old Max is, they never state it in the show. And they're actually about the same. So technically in this case, a broken clock is right twice a day. So it's safe to say that these townspeople are not too fond of Ash.
Yeah, well, what'd you come here for? I came to challenge the Petalburg Gym. Not!
Which, at first I kinda get, as he is some no-name kid trying to brag that he's a hotshot. But the real sticking point of their ire is the fact that he dares to challenge Norman.
You can't just waltz in here off the street and challenge Norman's gym. Only specially chosen trainers can challenge him.
Like, they find the fact that he even wants to battle Norman sacrilege or something. As if that's not the fundamental point of a gym leader. I get that they're meant to be blind superfans, but their prodding of Ash borders on harassment. They constantly stop Ash to forcibly battle like this is Nugget Bridge without any rest for his Pokemon. As if him battling these what's-it trainers is actually gonna prove any sort of power level against this gym leader they're trying to hype up. This would actually be kinda cool if they were, say, the gym trainers, as in those trainers that hang out in the gym in the games that you basically battle for free EXP before the real fight. Then it'd make their taunting more justified, but nope, they're just some punk kids off the street acting like they have any authority on who gets to fight Truant Man.
But the rules clearly state that any trainer can challenge any gym in any town he or she wants.
Too bad, not in this town.
You know, I kinda want Brock to just assert his dominance by pulling out some kind of gym leader certification he has and say something like, I am the gym leader, bitch. So this subplot's annoying. What's May up to?
As you can see, Skitty's quite a juggler.
Ah, it's mostly gonna be context theatrics for a bit. How's Team Rocket doing?
Your lives won't be complete without a souvenir badge!
If I buy enough, I can wallpaper my Norman memorial room with them.
TMI, dude. Also, reminder that this is Norman's next door neighbor. I'm sure the restraining orders will be coming in shortly.
Well, Ash, looks to me like you're starting to get your own fan club.
That's great.
No, me. Oh, yeah. I'm up. Come on.
The irony of this is that this scenario probably still happens to Ash nowadays, given that he is now the literal world champion. World champion Ash must also deal with some snarky as hell punk kids trying to pull a fast one like this.
Have what it takes. Hey, I can take all of you on at the same time.
I'm also imagining people like Cynthia, Leon, or Nimona getting people trying to gang up on them with the most unfair multi-battle only to get curb stomped in one earthquake. I'm not talking about May's subplot too much because nothing too much of note happens during it. It's just the crazies of North Petalburg badgering her to do more contest tricks until she gets tired out. Basically the same as Ash's, but in a toxic positive direction. It doesn't really get interesting until the punk kids harassing Ash warn the May stands about him, and thus force May to battle him. Honestly, the way they treat Ash is pretty shit, but the way they gas up May and Max isn't much better. These mostly grown adults are obsessively praising and bowing down to these children for just doing what a lot of kids in this world already do. This includes carrying them on this throne thing like they're royalty. All I gotta say is, at least they're not the Otakings.
We don't want someone the likes of you battling with our Norman.
They're still creepy though. At least before it was other kids with not the highest maturity level. This is a grown-ass man telling a 10-year-old boy that he doesn't want someone like him battling a gym leader. Referring to him as our Norman doesn't help much either. You know, I wonder if Norman is aware of how creepy this town is. I assume he treats it like any celebrity with an obsessive fanbase would, by acknowledging they're creepy and ignoring that toxic side. I like to think he pretends that North Petalburg doesn't exist while making snide comments about it.
Man, there's something in the water at that North Petalburg, let me tell ya.
If there's a highlight to this episode, it's Max. He's just so done with everything the whole time.
I'm really not comfortable with this.
Trust me, same here, kid. I'd be uncomfortable as hell being within 50 feet of this town. Also, North Petalburg Idiot Squad A somehow did not see Team Rocket run off despite swarming their autograph table. If the guests signing autographs at conventions could learn their methods, they'd hit them up.
There's Norman and his family.
I know this isn't actually Norman and his family, but this does mean that these guys would do this if it was actually them. Imagine what would happen if Norman had to go shopping here. It's not like he's a rich celebrity with a dozen bodyguards. A good chunk of gym leaders in Pokemon are kind of average Joes that, while people in their gym town know them, they aren't idolized to this extent. Now, obviously, this isn't all of them, but the ones that are tend to be celebrities for things outside of gym stuff, like INO streaming. Back to May and Ash's battle. It's basically just them booing Ash whenever he does anything good. I'd be annoyed, but I imagine something similar like this has happened at the Pokemon League whenever someone's battling anyone with clout. And don't even get me started on what INO's chat probably says about whatever poor challenger she's got. May's characterization here feels weird. She starts cheering when Torchic embers Ash.
This is so much fun! I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning!
I get that she's excited and doesn't battle as much as Ash, but they're friends, and she's cheering about her chicken accidentally burning him in battle. This feels like something she'd be doing when battling Team Rocket, not Ash. Also, North Petalburg citizens of mostly grown adults cheering a 10-year-old child getting burned, because we needed more reasons to hate this toxic hellhole of a city. Seriously, you could've just had Torchic defeat Talo normally because of Ash being under too much stress to focus. This feels excessive.
I'm sure I just saw May and Max a few minutes ago over by the fountain, and they were handing out autographs.
No!
Oh yeah, we need to rope the Team Rocket subplot here. Time for Poke Among Us Moron Edition! Small detail, but I do like how May's quickly able to recognize Team Rocket as not her parents.
You're not my dad.
Because, well, yes, these are one of their best disguises. They are going as people May is related to and has lived with for most of her life. So after some interrogating from May and Max, the townspeople...
How do we figure out who's real?
Okay, how fucking stupid is this town? It's gotten to the point where I'm wondering if there's actually something in the water in this place. Or better yet, if there's an IQ-destroying nuclear waste dump of Grimers and Mucks nearby. Team Rocket probably didn't even need the disguises to swindle them, frankly. Oh, and it gets even better. The townspeople start arguing amongst themselves on who is who.
Those two are the real ones, obviously.
No, these children are.
Yes, the previously mentioned next-door neighbor of May and Max thinks these two Pokemon dressed like them are May and Max despite literally looking at the real ones. Someone check on this guy. I think he used the last of his brain cells setting up that Norman Memorial Room.
I've had it! Torchic! Ember, 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 ember!
I do at least want a plush of Chibi May. Etsy people, get on that.
Who the Pokemon are you?
That is almost the stupidest thing said in this episode, believe it or not. But yeah, yada yada yada, fake Norman family is exposed, Team Rocket tried to do their thing, blah blah, Ash saves them all in the end. But you guys want to know the worst part? The real stinger of this entire romp of idiocy?
You know, you're very good.
That was some very fancy battling.
Thank you.
Not you, novice. I'm talking about your Pikachu.
That's right, Ash saves their asses and all they have to praise is his Pikachu. Yeah, sure, he did all the work, but who was commanding him? These guys are the most ungrateful swine-ubs in the Pokemon world and probably some of the worst characters of the day in the anime. But honestly, this episode is so stupid that it kind of doubles back to being funny.
It does feel better not having to act like winners anymore.
And no one could ever pretend to be as big of losers as we are.
There is some ironic enjoyment in watching how dumb these guys can be and wondering how they even function on their own. I am still irked at how dirty Ash got done by this town though, and it felt like they only did it for that cheap joke at the end, and frankly, it's not that funny and makes the ending feel empty and unsatisfying. If I were to rate it, it would be a North Petalburg out of 10. Try and figure out what that means. But in short, screw North Petalburg. It ain't even good enough for Groudon and Kyogre to destroy.